What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Cal here from Buffalo SportsCenter. It's been a season. It has sure been a season for this Buffalo Sabres team. From disappointing pretty much all the way to the trade deadline, to then having a mini run where Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen looked like the best goalie in the league, to now again seemingly out of the mix. Let's talk about how this Buffalo Sabres team can, and even if they still have a shot to make the playoffs. So first things first here, let's look at the current wildcard picture. Tampa Bay is the number one seed in the wildcard with 80 points. Good luck catching them. It's going to be tough. The Sabres got just over 10 games to do it. The second and final seed in that wild card right now is the Detroit Red Wings at 76 points. Now, the Sabres find themselves with 71 points at the time of this recording. So, I mean, you look at it, they're 5 points out. It's possible. Mathematically, they're far from eliminated. But it's going to be tough because it's not just a three-team race. We got the Islanders with 73 points. The Capitals with 75 points. You go below the Sabres, the Devils have 70 points. The Pittsburgh Penguins have 69 points. And I think the biggest thing going against the Sabres right now is games played. You look at teams like the Capitals. Only 67 games played at the time of this recording. I believe they do play the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight, though. So we'll see what happens there. The Sabres really could use a Toronto win in that one. You look at the Islanders, 68 games played at the time of this recording. The Sabres have 70 games played, so they're going to need a lot of losses from these teams ahead of them, and the Sabres are going to have to go near perfect the rest of the way to do it. But they can do it, right? I mean, we just had a big loss against Vancouver, but overall the Sabres have looked like a great team in the last 20 or so games. The issue is, you look at that Vancouver loss, and that's been the Sabres pretty much half this season. I mean, this team is so hit or miss. It just seems every night we don't know what to expect from this team. Now, I got to say, great move by Kevin Adams to go get Bo Byram at the trade deadline. He has been fantastic, paired with Dahlin. It was really making the power play look better, and he was just playing great. Was getting some goals right off the bat. But all of a sudden, the power play looks bad. He had a couple bad games. Dahlin was kind of shaky with him for a couple games there, too. But overall, it was a good trade. Again, we wish Casey Mittelstadt the best in Colorado. But Bo Byram, he looks like the real deal, and he's so young, too. So I'm definitely happy with that trade. And that gives me hope for the future because, let me tell you, before the trade deadline, this season looked like a complete bust. Maybe not anymore. And hey, you never know. You could still sign Casey Mittelstadt to an offer sheet in the offseason, but I digress. Let's get back to the playoff talk. I mean, again, it's going to be tough. 12 games left for the Sabres. When I'm talking here right now, we got 12 games left, and it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough. That's the only word to really describe it. Tough. You're going to need Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen to keep playing like he is. He's going to have to play pretty much every game left down the stretch. Devon Levi maybe gets one or two of those games. I thought he looked fantastic against the Canucks. Unfortunately, the Sabres just couldn't put up goals for him, and, scoring one goal. I guess they scored two, but the last one really doesn't count. So, you don't put up a lot of goals for your goalie. He only lets in 2 goals. That's not on him. I believe it was around 6 or 7 goals expected against him. I mean, that's crazy to have a game where 6 or 7 goals are expected against you. And Devon Levi only allowed 2. So the Sabres goaltending has been great. I believe statistically, it's 5th best in the league. I mean, what a turnaround from last year. You look at last year's team, and we can only wish we got this version of Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. If this version of UPL played last year, the Sabres would have finished top 3 in the Atlantic all day long. I mean, the way they were scoring last year, it's just incredible how things have flipped. Again, we can blame coaching. We can blame certain players. It's tough to blame coaching when every single player seems to be, not hitting their strides. But also, maybe it is coaching. Maybe it is the system. Something's got to change with this team because it's just tough. It looks like it's going to be another year without playoffs. The Sabres got to finish this West Coast trip with 2 wins against the Oilers and the Flames. And if that doesn't happen, good luck even making the playoffs. If they manage to do that, you got a little bit of an easy stretch. I think Ottawa's in there, some other easier teams. But then you finish off in Florida against, the Lightning, who, like I mentioned, are in that wild card spot above you. And then against the Panthers, who are currently second in the Atlantic with 94 points, tied with the Rangers for second in the East. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough stretch down the rest of the way. But if the Sabres are going to do it, let's talk about the keys to making the playoffs. Number one, I already said it, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen has to continue to play at a Vezina level. He has to let in 2 or fewer goals pretty much the rest of the way, because the Sabres team does not score goals. It is infuriating that some nights they look like last year where they score 6, 7 goals, and they just play fantastic, and we're like, oh, we're back. And then some nights they do the opposite, and they put up 1 goal, no goals. They get shut out to, backup goalies on a nightly I mean, what is going on with this team, right? It's just absolutely infuriating, but that's number one. Number two, the opposite. Score goals. Shoot the puck. I mean, you look at the game against Vancouver. 10 shots through 2 periods on Casey DeSmith, a backup goalie. It's just infuriating. That cannot happen. So you have to shoot. Every shot you don't shoot is not going to be a goal. I mean, simple as that. But, to counter my point there, the Sabres have had quite a few games where they've outshot their opponents this year and still haven't been able to finish. And that's been the number one issue, right? This team can't score. They can't finish. It's not a talent thing. We saw them do it last year. They're just not getting the luck, not getting the bounces. It is what it is. And my third and final point here for this Sabres team to make the playoffs is that power play. It's got to get going. I'm speechless. I don't have really anything to say about this power play besides it is pathetic. It's pathetic. I've never seen a power play unit so infuriating, so useless in my life. I mean, it's every time we go to a power play, I sit there and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. The other team's going to get all the momentum. Because not only do the Sabres not shoot the puck on the power play, it's one-dimensional. And you look at teams like the Capitals, for example, who have been doing the same power play for years. Get it to Ovechkin. The Sabres tried to emulate that with Tage Thompson. And once in a while it works. Once in a while we'll switch it up with the second unit. Force feed Olofsson, try to get that one-timer. But this Sabres team, they can't handle passes. They simply cannot handle passes, and that's been a huge issue with this power play. And the power play simply just does not score. And most of the time ends up giving up a goal or giving up all momentum they just built to get the power play. So power play's got to get going. That's my third and final take here. So thank you guys for watching this one. Hopefully the Sabres can make it, and peace out.